Seth Lennon again from the beautiful JW Marriott here in Palm Desert, California for the 2024 SMACNA Annual Convention. And we have a very, very special guest joining us here in our studio, Cheryl Sprague, who happens to be the 2024 SMACNA Chapter Executive of the Year. First off, Cheryl, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
What does winning that award mean to you? Like, I know it's been a little bit of a surprise because it literally just happened a few minutes ago, but what are kind of those first thoughts run through your head right now?
Well, it was a huge surprise for sure. And I hate to sound trite and say it's humbling, but when you don't feel like you deserve it, maybe humbling is the right word, because it certainly isn't all me. Like, I have a fantastic board of directors backing me up. I have staff, and I have a board that allows me to do what I want to do, even if they think it's crazy. They give me a lot of autonomy. And then, of course, the national SMACNA staff is always there to make me look a lot smarter than I really am. So I don't think it's my award. I think it's kind of a group effort.
But you've been such a leader when it comes to our chapter executives for so long. What are kind of just some of the best practices that kind of your fellow chapter executives can follow to be as effective as possible in advancing the cause of their members?
Again, at the risk of sounding obvious, I'd say just get involved. And there are so many ways that you can get involved that aren't always expensive. Not every chapter may have the budget to send their chapter executive to every single meeting, but we've implemented chapter executive peer groups, and it's a great way to get to know one another and to kind of learn from the strengths of your peers and learn from their best practices, because each of us chapter executives, we all have a very different background. We all have different levels of expertise in different areas. And so even those of us that have been around for a really, really long time still have a lot to learn from our peers. So I think the peer groups are, a free, easy way to really up your game and to learn from your peers. And also, I think most chapters, if really pressed, could probably find the financial resources to send their chapter executive to CEI, to the convention, and to other meetings. And I just think it's so important. You get so much out of these events that if you don't show up, you don't know what you're missing.
Now, your resume as a kind of an association professional is quite impressive. How did you kind of land in this space? Because it's when you're a 12-year-old in elementary school, I want to be an association professional. This sounds like one heck of a life. How did we get here?
I don't think any 12-year-old knows what an association executive is, right? So
You'd be surprised.
I certainly didn't set out for that, but my career started in public relations. My background is in public relations and government affairs, and it just kind of snowballed into association management, and I just found that I really liked working particularly with the trade associations, and it just happened totally out of my control.
And your background in kind of legislative affairs is, what are some of the ways you kind of really help your contractors with that? Because you're in Sacramento, which is the heart of the action in California. Talk about a lot of the efforts you do on that front to kind of help your contractors kind of navigate a lot of the legislative activity going on, and how do you kind of advocate personally for your members?
Well, we're very fortunate, of course, in California to have a statewide chapter where we have a professional lobbyist in Chris Walker to really do a lot of that. But SMACNA puts on an annual day at the Capitol, and our chapter just really tries to encourage our members to attend that, to be their own best advocates. It's one thing, I think, when the elected officials are hearing from chapter executives or from professional lobbyists, but when they hear from the actual contractors themselves, like how their businesses are impacted, and they hear how many people in that jurisdiction are employed by this contractor, that contractor, how many sheet metal workers are in each area. And when the electeds really get to learn the impact that has, and the impact that the schools or the contractors and the work that we do have on schools and K through 12 education, particularly in California, where indoor air quality is such a huge issue. So I think I've gotten away from your original question a little bit, but but just teaching the contractors and encouraging them to be their own best advocates for them to go out and speak to their own elected officials and the members that represent them it's huge. It goes a lot further than anything I could do even as a professional.
I started out my professional career back in 2006. I was working on the Hill, and we really relied on association professionals and their members as the subject matter experts, because
Sure.
being a staff member from a little district in South Central Pennsylvania, I didn't know everything about anything, but it was great to have relationships with the Cheryl Spragues and her members of the world that were able to, hey, these are the core issues. And the beautiful thing, and I've been saying this for all, is the beautiful thing is a lot of our stuff is nonpartisan. It is for the greater good. And it's just about, like you said, the indoor air quality thing. It's no longer a nice to have. In the post-pandemic world, it is a need to have, because that is one of the first lines of defense against whatever may come next that's airborne. And it's great to know that there's people in our spot that are knowledgeable, that are subject matter experts, are engaging policymakers on these key issues.
Absolutely.
SMACNA has really been ramping up its resources to help chapter executives out in kind of running their associations. And what do you think are some of the key educational opportunities and key resources that SMACNA has that would help chapter executives out?
For sure, the peer groups, like we talked about before, the peer groups, we have the Chapter Executives Institute, which is an annual meeting, and each year it seems like the speakers get stronger and stronger, and the support with your peers is just vital in learning, especially for the newer chapter executives, to be able to get the support from their peers across the country, I think is the best thing that they can do. Just being there and being part of it and learning from other people. And it could be anything from learning how to put on a golf tournament to talking about how you can affect legislative affairs in your own state, whether your chapter's in the Capitol or not. And there's here we are at the convention, and there's been an awful lot of workshops during this convention for chapter executives, or that were relevant to the work that we do. And I think it's just so important to be part of that and to attend those workshops and meet other contractors from across the country, support your contractors in learning and growing their own businesses. It's just vital to our growth as an industry and as an association.
It's all about engagement.
All about engagement.
Engage,
Absolutely.
engage. Well, Cheryl, you are a master of engagement, and thank you so much for not only just joining us, but thank you for your services to this association nationally and to your members in California. They're lucky to have you. We're lucky to have you. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate that. I'm thankful to be here.
Thank you.